Well, howdy there, folks, and welcome into today's video. Hope you guys are doing great out there. As always, today we're getting into my top 3 upside stocks here in future years, and we're going to get into projections on where I think these, basically how much I think these stocks are going to go up. Do I think they're going to 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x, those sorts of things. We're going to get into, my bullish thesis on these particular stocks. I'm even going to share some honorable mentions in the stock because there's definitely were some other stocks that I'm like, dang, this one has some huge upside as well, but there's certain stocks that I feel like have also some big downside, so that's why I didn't include them into the top 3, but we're going to go over a few of the honorable mentions as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this video as always, and let me know if you own any of these stocks mentioned in today's video. I'd love to hear from you guys as always, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free to do so. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button down there. And lastly, we have the massive Black Friday Cyber Monday sale that is ending within the next 24 hours. So if you want to take advantage of that and join my private stock group, there's never a better time until this time next year. But I'm sure that it will be more expensive to join at this time next year. But basically every year around Black Friday Cyber Monday, we do a huge deal for my private stock group, getting in that access to the 7-figure coaches, access to all the course curriculums, the private Discord chat where we chat about stocks, the private live streams, everything like that. And so once again, that deal is ending within the next 24 hours. So if you want to take advantage, take advantage. We got the Tesla Myesla deal, we got the jackpot deal, and we got the you gotta be high to pass up this deal. So hope you guys enjoy that. That will be pinned comment if you're looking to take advantage of that before it ends, and let the future you thank you. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So let's get into these 3 stocks that, in my opinion, I hold that have the biggest upside. The first one here is the Planet. This one has some crazy upside over the next few years. So right now it's a $747 million market cap. If you don't know the Planet, essentially they open these unbelievable superstores that sell cannabis products, okay? And this is not your around the corner type place. These places are epic. We're talking tens of thousands of square feet. The Vegas location even has a restaurant inside it. It has a merchandise shop. It has like 100 registers. It's absolutely insane. Just like a cool experience. Like you would want to go there even if you don't care to buy the product. It's just a cool place to go and walk around and see. And they even have a lounge coming in that location here in the future as well. All right. They also have a second massive superstore that they just opened up here recently, which is in Orange County, California. And I'm sure they're going to have, several different new additions coming to that location as well over time. And they have many more locations planned over time. They also have smaller format stores also planned, including they have one here in Vegas also called Medicine. All right. Now, it's not just a store opportunity with this company. It's also they own a ton of brands, and these brands are scaling out to become really, really large brands. And so that's one of the huge opportunities with Planet is it's not like this is just a retailer that's a huge experience. They own a bunch of brands that are becoming giants in this space and are going to likely become much bigger giants in future years. Now, in their most recent financial results, the numbers were extraordinary. Q3 2021 revenue, 33 mil. That's up 45% from a year ago. Adjusted EBITDA, $3.5 million. As far as what they had to say, we continue to drive strong performance during the quarter from our core Las Vegas operations, along with our dispensary operations. Our product brands, this is so important, this is completely forgotten about, and sometimes, even me as a bull on this stock, sometimes I even forget about this every once in a while, and it's so important not to forget about this because the retail opportunity is huge, but this is huge. Our product brands are performing well with trendy vapes seeing 110% dollar sales growth year over year, according to Headset. It now makes up about 5% of vape sales and 7% of concentrate sales, and HaHa Edibles was 14% of edible sales in the state of Nevada, okay? This is a huge deal. The HaHa Edibles brand, 14% of all edible sales in the state. Like, I'm not going to predict that they can have 14% around the United States long term, but imagine, the type of market share that HaHa will be able to command around the United States. I mean, imagine if HaHa is just 5% of edible sales around the United States, a decade from now. I think that's where they're going to go with a lot of these brands. I think they're in the strongest position possible. And If you go to the actual Planet stores, they obviously feature their products heavily, which I think is really, really important and a very, very smart decision. All right. Now, also, they won a dispensary license recently in the Chicago area, giving them a clear path to their next superstore. They also acquired a Florida license that will allow the company to vertically integrate and open multiple neighborhood, basically meaning smaller format stores, and superstores in the state. Florida is a huge opportunity for them as well. Overall, the Planet, 10 years from now, in my opinion, this will be a company that is all across the United States, and it'll be hard to not find their presence in a state. I think between neighborhood stores and superstores, they're going to have that in most big cities. And then on top of that, their owned brands, especially as things get federally legalized and you can start shipping across state lines and whatnot. I think their own brands, I think this will be a company that's relevant. Doesn't matter where you are in the United States of America. I think that's where this company is in 10 years from now. So this is just, we're in terms of the Planet, if this was a baseball game, we're in the second inning of this baseball game. The first inning was, getting this business up and running, getting them to 100 mil plus of revenue per year. And now the second inning is like this massive growth phase that the company's going to go on for the next many, many years of scaling the business. Okay. As far as analysts, they have them doing 19 cents of EPS next year. And by the way, I think probably once things are federally legalized, for sure, in my opinion, Planet will likely get on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. It's just, waiting for kind of that to happen. I think that'll happen sooner rather than later. That's just my opinion. This year, 2021, expected to do 124% revenue growth. Next year, 2022, expected to do 54% revenue growth. So extremely high growth company. No pun intended there. Okay. Now, projections. The Planet in 2030. And when I do these sorts of projections and whatnot, this is basing this upon certain growth rates. I'm not basing this upon this is not like my most bullish case I'm going to show you for any of these stocks. This is my base case, I would call it. Like this is absolutely what I expect. This isn't like they acquired this company and they had this go tremendously well for them and it's like everything's just perfect, right? This is like planning for some things to go wrong, a lot of things to go right, that are continuing to go right for the company, but kind of what I would call my base case. So Planet in 2030, I think is going to do revenue of $2 billion plus, and that's easily. Net income will be 200 mil plus for this company. I think I'm lowballing that number, but that's perfectly fine. The company will command a minimum of a PE of 30, in my opinion, in 2030, based upon they should continue to grow after that, right? That would put the company at a market cap of over $6 billion, which would make the stock an 8x type ROI or more than 8x ROI over the next, several years. So that's where I see this company going over time. The management team's phenomenal at this one. They this was a company that they could have went under during Rona. I mean, when they had one store open at that time, and they were forced to close that store, and the company pivoted. They switched to also curbside pickup, delivery. They stabilized the business. They were able to raise capital, 9 figures of cash around, right, and get themselves in this tremendous position where I think this is one of the companies that is the best positioned, if not the best positioned company, to become a giant in the cannabis industry. And this is an industry that there's so much demand already for this product that's on the illegal market, right? Over the next 10 to 20 years, all that illegal demand is all going to come basically, transfer to the legal market over the next 10 to 20 years. And the Planet is one of the companies I think I can't find a company that I think is better positioned to take advantage of this over the coming years between their retail store opportunity and then their owned brands opportunity. Never mind their partnerships, how they're good with everybody in the space, just a tremendous, tremendous opportunity. So, yeah, the Planet, absolutely one of my biggest upside stocks without a doubt. All right. Now, I want to go over the honorable mentions before we get to the last two stocks here of these stocks that I think has the most upside. So, honorable mention was Avant Brands. This one didn't make the cut simply because it's just such a dang speculative stock. It's a $44 million market cap on this one. There's another cannabis company, by the way. Very, very small company compared to the Planet, obviously. Revenues have been growing like insane for the past year plus. If you look at it, they've done a tremendous job. Norton over there, CEO, has done a very good job. But at the end of the day, it's an OTC stock, but not just that. It's a super, super small market cap out of Canada. So although the numbers have been tremendous, and I like the brands they're building there, especially kind of more in the premium space with their Black Market brand, their Tenzo brand, and others. Like, I think it's phenomenal, but this one just couldn't make the cut because it's a more speculative stock. But I will say, of the stocks I hold, this is probably the one that potentially has the most upside over the coming years. I mean, it's such a baby company. It's ridiculous. I almost feel like I'm a VC in this company, essentially, because it's such a small market capitalization. Like, you usually just don't get into these sorts of opportunities in this sort of, massive growing industry at such a small market cap. And they're putting up real numbers that are substantial, right? It's not like there's some pre-revenue company or the revenues are minuscule, like they don't matter. No, like this company has millions of dollars of revenue coming in. So, anyways, that one couldn't make the cut, but it's an honorable mention. Very good food company, also an honorable mention. I didn't want to put this one as one of the top 3, although it does have big upside. Plant-based food company. I've just been really confused with the direction the management team is taking this company. That's why I didn't want to feature this one as one of the top 3 upside stocks, because, they're talking about entering China as a real market. Then they raised capital, and I think they haven't been the best with communication as well. It's like, I think they have a huge opportunity in the United States. Like, who cares about China right now? Company's not in the type of financial position to, in my opinion, take that on right now. Focus on the United States and Canada, build the business there, get into more and more retailers, get SKU expansion, and go from there, right? And so, and obviously they have a big, basically direct-to-consumer business through their online business as well, right? Now, in terms of numbers, they've been really, really impressive. Year-to-date, Q3 2021 revenue increased 184% year-over-year. So that's impressive. Year-to-date Q3 2021 production increased 154% year-over-year. That's impressive. Year-to-date Q3 2021 e-commerce revenue increased by $4 million, 206% year-over-year. So the numbers are impressive. It's just management team that with the communication, they got to up it in a big way in 2022, in my opinion. If this company's going to thrive, and if the stock's going to thrive in the future, they got to really up their communication and be very, very clear on where they're taking this company over time, and making that very clear to not just investors like myself, but everybody else that's looking at the stock, that's looking at it, and they're like, wait, this is a massive growth company in the plant-based food space, which is an industry that's just growing massively. It seems like a good stock. It seems like a huge opportunity, right? But they've got to fix the communication. That's a huge deal there, okay? Smile Direct Club, STC, this is an honorable mention. I couldn't put this one in. The reason I couldn't is because this one has, I think, real bankruptcy risk. In my opinion, 18 months from now, this is a $10 plus stock, or this is a $0 stock. They have huge cash flow problems right now. They're burning cash like crazy. They've got to stabilize the cash flow. That's the first thing. Secondly, they got to get to nice revenue growth. If they can, get the cash flow in a positive direction, and maybe even get this company profitable, at least for one quarter over the next several quarters, it would be a huge deal for this company. And this was a $16 stock now that dang long ago. I mean, it's no question that this is one of those companies that, it could very easily, with tax loss harvesting and whatnot, could go down to $2 in the short term, or $2 something. But if they can just stabilize cash flow and start building these revenues up, this is a $10 plus stock in 18 months from now. So on the flip side, if they can't, they're going to end up going out of business, right? Because if they just keep burning money and then their stock price keeps declining, so they can't even raise capital, right? And then maybe they get into some bad loans, or the banks don't want to loan to them because they're like, man, you're burning money left and right. We don't even want to loan to you. That could get into a real ugly situation. So I think this one has tremendous risk. Also, I think this one over the next 18 months is probably the stock I hold that has potentially the most upside. So it's kind of a huge risk, and also a huge short-term reward there as well, okay? But it can't be one of these 3 stocks. Voyager Digital. So this one came very close to making the cut. This is a massive growth company. Like Voyager Digital, no one heard of this company 18 months ago. And now if you care at all about cryptocurrencies, like you probably are aware of Voyager, you might even be a Voyager customer. You're probably going to be a Voyager customer in the future because they pay so much interest. Just the interest they pay alone on basically holding cryptocurrency inside Voyager is crazy. So if you have any major Bitcoin or Ethereum position, like a lot of folks look at that and they're like, hey man, like this is like a no-brainer to sign up for Voyager. And so, yeah, I think this one has tremendous upside. By the way, if you never signed up for Voyager and you want to sign up for Voyager, I have a link in the description. And what that link is for is if you deposit $100 and use that link, you'll get $25 in free Bitcoin. Okay, so if you deposit, and I think you have to buy anything with the $100, they'll give you $25 of free Bitcoin. I also get $25 in free Bitcoin. So if you use that link, you're helping out yourself and you're helping out me if it's something you're at all interested in. But needless to say, when it comes to Voyager, like you look at these type of companies, a fintech company, I mean, there's no question this company can become a 20, 30, 50, $100 billion market cap. My main concern, why I didn't mention this one as far as one of the top three, although I do think it has tremendous upside, it's at the end of the day, I do worry about a several year bear market for cryptocurrencies, which I think is at least on the table, right? Like, 2022 through 2025. So obviously a lot of people that are bullish, but remember, we've been in a massive bull cycle. So that's going to, a lot of folks are going to think, well, things are going to keep going, right? So I do worry, like, what if we had a multi-year bear market for crypto, which is always a possibility. That's the way crypto is sometimes. It will have some unbelievably hot cycles like, Bitcoin and all crypto has been on for basically the past 18 months. But then all of a sudden you get these vicious bear markets where cryptocurrencies just decline or they do nothing for 1, 2, 3 years. And so for that reason, I kind of worry about this for Voyager. Like if they get caught into a massive bear market, it's not going to be the best thing for a company like Voyager Digital that at the end of the day, they want to become a lot more than a crypto brokerage. But at the end of the day, right now, this is a crypto brokerage. They just announced their debit card product, which is good. They're moving in the right direction. I think there's a high probability they enter the stock space and become a stock brokerage over the next, 12 to 24 months. I think the high probability they get into credit card products and more banking-related products. And so that's great. But right now, at the end of the day, this is a crypto brokerage. And if you are a crypto brokerage and you go through a multi-year bear cycle, it's not going to be good, right? So I think the stock has crazy, silly upside, but I also think it has that potential downside, okay? So stock number 2 or 3 with my top upside stocks here, Tattooed Chef, TTCF. So in terms of long-term risk in the stock, I think there's very, very little long-term risk in the stock. Short-term, anything can happen with the stock. We've seen it go from, $15 to 20-something dollars back down to 15, back to, short-term, like many of these stocks, it's just super, super volatile. And that's what you should expect. But long-term, I feel like I'm taking very little risk in the stock, to be quite frank. $1.3 billion market cap on this company right now. If you didn't know this company, like look at my freezer, okay? That's this company, plant-based food company. Everything they make is really plant-based. That's their whole focus. This is an industry that's going to grow massively in the future. Right now, they sell basically all frozen items, but over the next year or two, they're going to get into snacks. They're going to get into refrigerated items and several other product categories that, like nutritional bars they're talking about as well, meal replacement bars. So this is a company that over the next 1 to 2 years is going to expand, and you're going to start seeing this in your local grocery store all over the dang place, okay? Basically, this year has been just them getting into a lot of different grocery stores and a lot of companies in general, Target, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco, Kroger, Vons, Safeway, Albertsons, all those ones, right? So basically what's going to happen now in the future years is you're going to see more of these items in your grocery store, and then you're going to see a lot more items that aren't in the freezer aisle from Tattooed Chef over the future years. So crazy big opportunity, obviously, for this company. Now, in terms of this one, basically, analysts have them growing. There's only 2 analysts that, in my opinion, at this time next year, there's going to be between 5 and 10 analysts covering the stock, in my opinion, at this time next year. But for right now, there's only 2 analysts that cover the stock. They're doing about 33% growth revenue in 2022. I think they're probably going to do about 40% based upon the fact that I don't think people are accounting for a lot of things, including the 2 analysts, okay? I don't think they're accounting for the fact that Tattooed Chef, although they have announced getting into a ton of your grocery stores and whatnot, they've just barely started actually getting the product on shelves, okay? So very little revenue from a lot of these deals is even counted into this year's numbers. Much of that revenue is going to be counted next year, and then as the sell-through expands, right? Also, I don't think they're accounting for the fact that, you look at something like Target, now they're talking about 20 plus SKUs in Target. At this time last year, Tattooed Chef had maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 SKUs in Target stores. So that's a huge thing. Never mind the snack opportunity in front of this company in meal replacement bars, nutritional bars that they're talking about getting in all here over the next, let's say 12 months. So I think analysts are a little lowballing it, which is perfectly fine because the analysts went really high with their numbers this past year. Tattooed Chef came in and disappointed. I think we're going to get a reversal this upcoming year where essentially there's going to be analysts that are going to be too bearish on the numbers, in my opinion, and Tattooed Chef's going to likely come in with better numbers than folks expect, including, I think, potentially a lot of quarters that are right around break even, or maybe slight loss, slight profit. That's going to really excite a lot of people because it's going to not just be a revenue growth story, but it's going to be like, hey, this company's on the verge of profitability, which is another huge step up for a business model like a Tattooed Chef, okay? So In terms of me, in my opinion on, what I project out for this company based upon, certain growth rates I have for them and whatnot. So Tattooed Chef in 2030, I think is going to be a revenue of 2.5 billion plus minimum, net income of 300 mil plus minimum, PE of 25, I think is, pretty dang cheap for this company in 2030, but I think it'll command at least a 25. That would put this company at a minimum of a market cap of 7.5 billion, which would be over a 5x ROI from basically here where the shares are at here today. And once again, I believe I went very conservative with all these numbers. I have much more bullish theses as well around this stock. I just want to share the ones that I think are more fairly in line. Like nothing crazy happens. They don't come up with some huge acquisition or something like that, which believe me, that's probably going to happen. I don't have those sorts of things baked in, but remember, in the food industry, it is very, very common for companies to buy out other companies, right? As they get bigger and bigger, this is how they, that's one of the things to becoming a food giant. So Tattooed Chef, they're doing a phenomenal job. They're going to be branding all these different products as Tattooed Chef. But don't be surprised if as this company scales and gets bigger, gets more capital on the balance sheet, gets the cash flows bigger, gets the net income bigger, right? They're going to have money to buy out other companies if they want. They're already buying out companies, but they're private label companies that basically they're going to use those production facilities for their main business, right? That's going to be Tattooed Chef branded products. But don't be surprised if they end up buying out other big companies that actually do have brands behind them over in future years. That's just not something they're obviously doing at the moment. So yeah. The Chef, crazy opportunity there in that one. Absolutely love that one. And like I said, as far as long-term risk, very little long-term risk in this one, in my personal opinion. Honest Company is number 3 of 3. This is a company that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. I think a lot of people say, okay, this is a company that sells diapers, wipes, cosmetics products, cleaning products, some sanitization type products. Like, what's the big deal here? This can't be a big upside stock. Well, that's where you're wrong, in my opinion. This stock actually has tremendous upside over the next 5-10 years, in my opinion, and a lot more than a lot of people even realize with this one. And this one's been, dropping a lot with a lot of tax loss harvesting. Also, it's finding its shareholder base. In my opinion, this one represents a crazy opportunity over the next 5-10 years, but I think it actually represents a pretty good short-term opportunity in terms of 2022 as this company finds its shareholder base and, tax loss harvesting is kind of finished up and whatnot. And there's going to be a reversal, in my opinion, to a lot of small caps. But anyways, that's beside the point. So the Honest Company, you're looking at a company here that next year, a slight loss is expected. 9 analysts cover the stock, expect to lose 11 cents. Companies expect to have 13.6% revenue growth. This is a company I think is going to be able to grow double digits per year for so many years to go in the future. They have big partnerships right now with Costco and Target. I think in future years, they're going to build out to being in like every basically retailer out there. Kind of like you would expect like Pampers and Huggies, right, to have relationships and be selling into almost everybody that sells those sorts of products, right? That's where Honest is going in future years, in my opinion. They even, on their latest conference call, they announced a new partnership with another company I own, Walgreens Boots Alliance, WBA, where they're going to be getting into thousands and thousands of WBA stores and expanding SKUs in those stores as well, which is a huge opportunity there, okay? As far as my projections for Honest stock in 2030, I have this company doing revenue of over $900 million. I'm doing net income of $160 million plus. Basically, in this company, for a company that's scaled out like this company will be in 2030, it's very, very common for these sorts of companies to trade or basically top to bottom line. So how much of the revenue is making its way down to bottom line. Very common in this industry for anywhere from 15% to about 23%. I think that's, in line with where this company will be. So 160 mil plus. PE of 25 is very fair for a business model like this because they're seen as a safer type business model, right? That would put this company at a market capitalization of over $4 billion. And that would give this one over a 5x ROI over the coming years. And that's why I say, this is just not a stock to sleep on. It's a stock that people hear about and they're like, what's a big deal? And it's like, yeah, you'll see the big deal in the stock price over the coming years, in my personal opinion. And so this is one I'm aggressively adding right now. And especially if it goes any lower in the 7s or anything like that, I'm going to be aggressively adding this one because, yeah, at this stage for this particular stock, the price to sales ratio is getting so low, especially based upon growth rates, that this stock is being so de-risked now. It's absolutely amazing. And I think the upside's crazy for the stock. Never mind, as they build out the business over time, the potential that they could acquire smaller brands that are building in other verticals, right? So yeah, I love Honest. I think this is one of my biggest upside stocks over the coming years, and I think it's going to be a tremendous winner for me over coming years. And I think actually the downside is extremely limited for me in this particular stock. So yeah, I'm thrilled about that one. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you want to learn how to invest exactly like me, know everything I do, and get access to the 7-figure coaches, get access to me, get in the private Discord chat, everything else, check out the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale that is literally ending within 24 hours. Check out pinned comment down there. Take advantage of that. Or if you're not in the financial position to take advantage of that, we're going to be doing the sale, I'm sure, again next year. It'll probably be higher prices at this time next year, but we'll likely be doing it again next year around this time. So anyways, guys, much love as always, and have a great day.